Hi, this is Maria from Body Confidence Solutions, and today I'm talking about relationships. The quality of our relationships often inform the quality of our life, because life really is about relationships. And the most important relationship we'll ever have in our lifetime is our relationship with ourselves. And I know that we're not always taught that, especially in our formative years, where we start to believe on some level that if we were better, then the people in our lives would love us, because we are so dependent on the relationship that we have with those caretakers in our developmental years. And we start to jump circles and do everything in our power to try to get the love that we want, to get the comfort we want in the relationships that are in our formative years. So as we grow older, though, we start to realize that it's time to come into a better or a healthier relationship with ourselves. And when we do that, then we have better relationships with all of the people in our life. A lot of times we are our worst enemy. We push ourselves, we berate ourselves, we force ourselves into doing and being things that are not really, and we don't do it in a loving way. And maybe we want to achieve something or attain something, or maybe we want to make changes in our life. And we do it in a way where we're sort of badgering ourselves rather than doing it in a loving, gentle way, to start to allow ourselves to move into change in a more comfortable way, shall I say. So particularly in my work, personally and professionally, with women who struggle with food, weight, and body image, a lot of this self-beating up, this pushing ourselves, this berating ourselves, this internal, basically traumatizing ourselves, is based on this feeling like maybe we're not enough. And so we blame ourselves oftentimes. So we go on punitive diets, or we have relationships that are really not in our best interest, because we feel like if they love us enough, then we'll be okay. We look for love really in all the wrong places. And what I'm wanting you to know is that finding love for yourself, cultivating love for yourself, is going to be the most powerful thing you can do to start to heal any aspect of your life, to start to live your life with more power, more happiness, more freedom, and more integrity. You know, we really do teach people how to treat us. And if there are any relationships you have in your life right now that are less than what you like them to be, maybe you're being disrespected in some way, ask yourself the question, where in your life are you disrespecting you? Where in your life are you undermining you? Where in your life are you calling yourself names or badgering yourself? So it's about cultivating love and appreciation for who you are, for your body, for your mind, and your spirit. When we look at children, we see that they are so engaged they're in their bodies. They are just trusting themselves on a deeper level. They're really acting as if they love themselves and they know how to take care of themselves. They get their needs met, typically. You know, they might even have a tantrum because something is not right, something is inappropriate. So, but if we look at children as a model of how to take care of themselves, you know, they eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're full, they hurt themselves, they cry. You know, we start to, as we get older, we start to conform with things and we take ourselves out of the equation. So in order to have a healthier life today, it's important to factor yourself in the equation. I know there's been a lot of talk about self-love, and there are people that say, well, I can't even go there. I can't even look in the mirror. I'm criticizing myself all the time. So self-love has to come from a place. First of all, we have to cultivate it. You know, we have to start to see ourselves through the eyes of love and compassion. And sometimes when we're stressed or we are overwhelmed with our lives, it's hard to see ourselves in that good light. So the first thing that you can do is to start to de-stress yourself, even if you are not doing it from a place of love and compassion for yourself. Sometimes we do it because we want to be a better parent, or we want to be a better spouse, or we want to be a better worker. So I know in my case, my healing, the kernel of my healing, I didn't have enough self-respect or self-love. And the kernel of my healing, the turnaround, was when I had my daughter, and I wanted to show up for my daughter in a way that I had not been, that my parents were not able to show up for me for. So I didn't want to abandon her in that way. And the paradox was that as I started to show up for her, I started to cultivate self-love and self-healing practices so that I could start to treat myself with more love and compassion and dignity and respect. So first off, I think it's really important to remember that these bodies are amazing temples, amazing mechanisms for self-healing, that our body really does want to be healthy, happy, and whole, and it has the capacity to do that. There's so many things going on in the body that are unconscious, and the body is really taking care of us. The body is always trying to take care of us. A lot of times when we have thoughts or beliefs that it's not safe, guess what? The body activates certain mechanisms to make us feel safe. Maybe it has us put on some extra weight. Maybe it has us shutting down around people that don't feel safe. So the body really does have your back. It's just that we have not come into a healthy relationship with our body. So first off, if you could sort of disassociate yourself, like create a witness consciousness, an awareness of observing yourself and your body from afar, and just noticing and observing and releasing the judgment, and just out of curiosity, noticing the body and how it's showing up and the feelings in it, maybe the aches and pains in it, the discomfort in it. All of that is your body speaking to you. And if you don't have a relationship with your body, you're not going to hear what's going on in the body. Again, stress is in our body, tension is in our body. Oftentimes when we have pain in the body, it's an indicator that there's even some emotional pain that's being held in the body. And the way to release that and heal that is to first come into communication with the body and start to cultivate a loving, compassionate relationship with the body. So if your body is not showing up the way you would like to, maybe you're carrying extra weight, or maybe you are stressed out, maybe you have a lot of reactive behaviors, you default to strong emotions that are not serving you or anyone else. Just taking a deep breath in and coming into more awareness of the present moment and what's going on in your body is always the first step. So we want to have awareness of what's going on. And that has to happen in a mindful way. So mindfulness can be activated through the breath, because a lot of times when we're out of our minds, our breathing is not deep, and the sympathetic nervous system is activated, and we're in fight, flight, freeze. And breath has been shown in many research studies now that it will activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And that means that it will put your body in a relaxation response. It will deactivate the fight, flight. So taking some breaths, breathing in and letting go. That's the beginning of de-stressing the body, coming into your body, becoming aware of how you're feeling in your body. You might at first feel some tension. You might feel some physical pain, even some anxiety, but pay attention and maybe even connect to some of the emotions that are in your body, because our emotions are in our body. And often, as I said before, when we have a buildup of pain or tension, it's the body's holding on to emotions. And it's, again, protecting you in the way that maybe you have a message that it's not okay to feel your emotions. So you're holding on, the tension is holding on to the emotions until you start to give yourself permission to feel the emotions. And that only happens in an atmosphere, an environment where it feels safe to release and explore your emotional body. So your physical body is closely connected to your emotional body. And when we disassociate from our bodies, we're also disassociating from our emotions. What often happens is we become so disassociated, and then something triggers us and we blow a valve and we get very emotional, but we're not really in touch with the day-to-day emotions that are cumulative and that are building up. So again, coming into a right relationship with your body is going to start to inform all of your experiences. It's going to enable you to know yourself more fully. It's going to help you get out of your head and into your body. And I believe as Westerners, we really live from the head up. I remember in 2005 when I became a yoga teacher, I went for training. It was like a month-long program, and it was a very intense program, but yoga was the first time that I really started to really live in my body, because for most of my life, I was living in my head. And sometimes the feelings and emotions that wanted to come up were painful and difficult. And I learned to run away from my emotions. So I had to start to cultivate a practice and a belief within myself, within my psyche, within my body, that it was safe to feel my emotions. And so when you do that, you can live more in your body, and you can be in the present rather than reliving the past or ruminating about the future, but getting into the present. And of course, the point of power is always in the present. So cultivating some compassion, some curiosity for your body, exploring how it's showing up day to day, using the breath to get more mindful is a wonderful practice for awareness and presence into the body. And that's the first step in cultivating a relationship with your body. I mean, to have a relationship with anyone, we have to be present. We have to be aware. We have to leave the judgment out of the picture and just be curious. So I want to leave you with that today. How are you cultivating a healthier relationship with your body? You can start at any moment, and you might default into old behaviors that are not really loving and compassionate. But as anything else, you can cultivate a practice that will be more loving towards you and your body. And you can ask yourself, what might I do today that would be loving my body? Maybe my body needs some movement today. Maybe my body needs some water today. Maybe my body needs some nourishing foods today. How can you cultivate a loving relationship with your body? Tune in and check in with your body. And that begins a lifelong practice of ultimately loving yourself, respecting yourself, honoring yourself, and then you can start to trust yourself and feel safe within yourself. And that will inform all the other relationships you have, the relationship you have with other people, the relationship you have with food, the relationship you have with money. You want to tune into you. Find a place where you can cultivate love and compassion, healing any wounds, and then stretching yourself into moving into something that's more in alignment with your higher, truer self. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope this inspires you to begin to cultivate a more loving, accepting relationship with your body. And if you already are on that path, I hope this is just a good reminder that taking good care of yourself, treating yourself with respect will enable you to have more loving and respectful relationships with other people. And that will be a win-win for everybody. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, keep on taking good care of yourself. Bye now.